Endurance Junkie Podcast, episode 113. Hey Junkies, what's up? My name is Peter and thanks for joining me on a new episode of the Endurance Junkie Podcast, the show where I will be interviewing some of the fastest, smartest and most inspiring people active in the endurance world today. Now if you like these little interviews and don't want to miss any future episodes, just head over to iTunes or Stitcher and simply subscribe to the show. Also feel free to join me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter if you want to discuss or leave your comments. My handle is Junkie Podcast on all platforms, so it should be nice and easy for us to connect. Right, Gwen Jorgensen is a professional triathlete turned marathon runner who resides in Portland, Oregon. She's a two-time triathlon world champion in 2014 and 2015, a 17-time ITU World Triathlon Series race winner, and a 2016 Olympic triathlon champion. After winning the gold medal at the Rio Games and taking a year off racing to give birth to her son Stanley, Gwen announced late last year that she'll retire from triathlon to pursue a new goal, Olympic gold in the marathon in 2020. So hi Gwen, thanks for coming on the show. It's a huge honor for me, so thank you very much. Now for those of you who might not know you, can you maybe start off by telling us a bit about yourself and your own sporting background growing up and how you ended up in triathlon?
Yeah, I started triathlon after running and swimming at the University of Wisconsin-Madison when I was getting my collegiate degree in accounting. And out of college, USA Triathlon recruited me into the sport of triathlon. So I actually didn't even know that triathlon was an Olympic sport at the time, but USA Triathlon came to me and said, "We think you have the perfect background to become an Olympic triathlete." And it actually shocked me a little bit, because I, growing up, really wanted to be an Olympic swimmer, and I just was never good enough. I wasn't making national teams or anything like that. So I, had a dream when I was little to be an Olympian, but quickly realized that I was never good enough to do that. So it shocked me when USA Triathlon said, "You should do triathlon, and we think you could be good." So, I had a job with Ernst & Young, an accounting job, and I had my CPA, and I wasn't quite certain if I wanted to do sport, just because I didn't have that faith that I would be able to support myself financially by doing sport. But thankfully, with the help of USA Triathlon, I was able to work part-time and train part-time, and within a year became an Olympian, and later on, a few years later, world champion, and then Olympic champion, most recently in these past Rio Olympics.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you were pretty competitive then as a swimmer and a runner, but in both of these sports, you weren't good enough to make it to the elite level. Is that correct?
I in swimming for sure. I gave it my all when I was younger and dove all in. Running, I never really felt like I had the opportunity. I didn't start running. I did some in high school. I had a really nice track coach. His name was Eric Lehman, and he let me go to swim practice every day of the week, and then I would just show up on the weekends to meets and at track meets. So, I was probably running maybe less than 20 miles a week in high school. And, then in college, it was my junior year that I switched from swimming to running, and it was very just new. I was NCAA All-American, had a pretty good background, or not a pretty good background. I had a pretty good trajectory, but I only ran 2.5 years in college. And so, I didn't run that much. And that's when USA Triathlon came to me and said, "You should try triathlon."
Mm-hmm. So, and then, the fact that you were able to progress that quickly in triathlon was mainly due to that huge engine that you had built as a swimmer?
Yeah, I think, a lot of people were surprised. Within a year of doing my first triathlon, I qualified for my first Olympics. And I do think people forget that I did have that engine, and I had been working, since I was little at swimming and running. So cycling was definitely something that I had to learn. I had never used clipless pedals. I had never rode a road bike before triathlon, but I also met my, he was boyfriend at the time, but now husband, Patrick Lemieux, and he was a professional cyclist. And I had a lot of other people, Tom Schuler, who, was a professional cyclist back in the day, helping me out becoming a better cyclist.
Yeah, okay. So, it was a bit of circumstances that you met the right people at the right time. And did you love triathlon when you started doing it? I mean, these first couple of races, were you really like thinking, what the hell am I doing here? I'm totally out of my comfort zone. Or was it love at first sight and this is great, we can go all the way here?
Yeah, I'd say a little bit more of the former than the latter. I definitely was like, what am I doing? For part of it, I was working full time still, training in a Wisconsin winter, which is a lot of snow and cold days, a very long winter. And, I didn't quite, I definitely wasn't love at first sight with triathlon. And, it's something that I enjoyed doing, but it definitely wasn't, my true love. And I think that's something maybe a lot of people don't realize about triathlon and me is that, triathlon picked me. I didn't pick triathlon. So I grew to really enjoy it. And I think what I really enjoyed about it, though, was the community and the people. But for me, getting up every day and having to go to the pool, something that I loved as a child, was something that I hated. I hated it so much. I did not want to jump in the cold pool. I did not want to get in my swim every day. And swimming was one of my weakest things. So I had to swim at least 6 days a week. So, that was a big mental barrier I had to get over while training for the Olympics, just getting that work in and something that I didn't truly love.
Yeah, but the fact that, for you, it was an opportunity to go to the Olympics, that was the thing that kept you going all the time?
I think what kept me going was I'm a very goal-driven, stubborn person. Yeah. And I think, being stubborn can be viewed as a bad thing, but for me in my athletics, it's a good thing. And I would say I never really gave triathlon a full shot until after my first Olympics in 2012. That's when I stopped working as an accountant. It's when I fully immersed myself in triathlon, and I made that decision. And that's when I said, you know what, I want to go to the Rio Olympics and I want to win gold. And I think what really motivated me and kept me going was wanting to improve and knowing that I had more in me, that I hadn't reached my potential yet. And I wanted to see what is my potential, and I wanted to work hard and invest into the sport to see how good I could become and if I could achieve those goals that I had made.
Yeah. So it was more like a job to you than it was actually a love for the sport?
That's an interesting word. When you say it was more of a job, I often think of somebody just making money, right? They're doing it just to make money. And for me, I never knew it would be funny, especially when I first met Patrick. I'd win a World Cup race and he'd be like, oh, you just won $5,000 or $6,000. And I'd be like, really? How do you know how much it was? Like, I never kept track of that. The money was never a motivator for me. It was more just, I think the big motivator was just trying to reach my potential and knowing that I hadn't yet. And just wanting to see how far I could go with the sport.
Yeah, okay. So that resulted in a couple of years of really dominating the World Cup circuit and afterwards winning the gold at the Rio Games. Did you think that you reached your potential in triathlon?
For sure. I mean, I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. I had that huge win streak in the World Triathlon Series races that I never imagined I would have had. I was 2-time world champion going into the Olympics and then winning the Olympics. That was my, one goal. And I, along the way, had always said, if I have some worse races, that's fine, because I'm ultimately trying to prepare myself for the Olympics. And it just kind of worked out that I was able to have success along that route into the Rio Olympics. So it was a very fun few years, and a lot of things I wasn't expecting. I didn't expect to be that successful.
Yeah. So the fact that you got that feeling of having achieved everything that you could within triathlon, is that the main reason why you gave up the sport and switched to marathon running? Because that's your goal now, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's something I had talked about with Patrick for a long time, wanting to try running, because that is where my passion is and where it has been for the past few years. When I was training for triathlon, I always wanted to run. That was the one workout I just looked forward to every day. If I got to run, sometimes we'd do double runs, and it would be my favorite day. It's just all I wanted to do was go out and run, and that's what excited me. That's what made me happy. And I also felt like, I tried to reach my potential in swimming, got that box that checked off and did that. Same thing with triathlon. And I just felt like I've never had that opportunity in running. And I want to see, if I really focus on running, how far I can get. And, I believe I have the potential to be among the world's best. And that's something that's motivating for me, along with just having the desire to want something new. Mm-hmm. In triathlon, I set out to achieve those goals, and the thought of doing another 4 years of trying to achieve the same thing just wasn't appealing to me. And in my head, I've already accomplished that, and that box is ticked, and I have a new goal now. And for me, I just really needed something that was going to be motivating. In triathlon, I realized the thing that would keep me in the sport would be making money. And I just didn't think that was the right reason to stay in the sport.
Mm. So you wouldn't have made the switch to marathon running if you hadn't won the gold in Rio?
That I don't know. That's a very good question. I called some running coaches back in maybe like 2014, just to kind of feel out, did they think I could try to make the switch to running, what that would look like? Would they be open to letting me into their training groups? And, some of the coaches I called were very open and said, who knows? If you want to give it a shot and you're motivated to, we can do that. If you, there's other coaches that said, there's no way you can make that switch. So there's kind of some, hesitation, and then some other coaches who were excited. But for me, I wasn't always planning on for sure switching sports after the Olympics. It really, I had talked about doing the switch with my husband and some close people, but I never knew what my motivation would be like after the Olympics. And I think if you talk to athletes who have gone to the Olympics and won or medaled, what they think they're going to feel before and after is completely different. So I really gave myself the opportunity to just decompress after the Olympics. And, I had my son Stanley, so I actually had a year of just downtime basically when I was pregnant, and I could really ponder and think, what do I want to do, and where is my heart and where is my motivation? And that's when I made the decision. So I'm not really sure what I would have done had the Olympics gone differently.
Okay. Yeah, the 2018 season just kicked off the World Triathlon Series last week in Abu Dhabi. Obviously, I think you watched the race. What do you think you will miss most about triathlon?
Oh, for sure, the people.
Yeah.
I had a really good training group with the Wollongong Wizards, and I still follow all of them very closely and how they're doing. And Patrick talks to my coach, Jamie, almost daily, and I talk to Jamie as well when he's on the phone with Patrick. So, I really am going to miss those people. And, you just become really good friends with them, and I definitely miss them. So it's fun to be able to watch them and see them have success and be able to do that through the internet.
Okay. So you're still working with Jamie as a coach now, or is it a different setup now?
Yeah. So, right now, Jerry Schumacher is helping me out. And he actually was a coach at the University of Wisconsin-Madison when I was running there. And he now coaches some professional athletes down in Portland, Oregon, which is my new home.
Okay.
I talked to Jamie about it. And, Jamie is, I believe, the world's best triathlon coach. And I think he could have coached me in running. But for me, I really feel like one thing I learned from triathlon is I need to surround myself with the best. Mm-hmm. And, Jamie hasn't coached any marathon runners, and as well, he wouldn't have a training group for me to train with, and I really need people to train with in order to become the best version of myself.
Yeah, so that's also the main reason why you guys moved?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you're back in full training mode, I think, now for a couple of months. What are like some of the major differences that you feel in your lifestyle now, where you only have to focus on one sport instead of three? I mean, can you focus more on things like recovery or other aspects in your training that can help you improve?
Yeah, I've had to really increase my prehab and doing a lot of exercises to stay healthy. And as well, I've had to increase my body maintenance or body work. So every other day I'm getting some sort of treatment, massage, or, physio treatment, ART, chiro, things like that. Because my body, it's really hard for my body to stay healthy at this high mileage. And triathlon, I probably only ran max maybe 40 miles a week. And now I'm tempting, I want to get up over 120, and I can't do that right now. My body isn't strong enough. I'm hovering around 80 or 90 miles a week. And I hope I can keep increasing it by staying on top of things and doing my prehab exercises and getting the recovery in I need. But I'd say the biggest change has just been that need to just really make sure the muscles are staying loose so that I can stay injury free.
Yeah, is that mainly due because the fact that you run more, there's a lot more impact on the body whilst you're swimming and you're cycling. You've been carried by the water or by the bike.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. So what does a typical training week look like these days? It's you mentioned it. Of course, a lot of running, physio and stuff like that. But gym work and do you maybe still swim and bike for active recovery, for example?
Yep, exactly. So I'm doing like 3 gym sessions a week, but then every single day I do a few exercises like glute exercises, and I do eccentric calf raises to help with my Achilles. And then, get that body work done every other day. I'm running every day of the week, and I try to do, I'm running at least once every day, maybe twice or 3 times a week. I'm doing a double run, and then those other days of the week I'm getting in the pool for an hour, or I'm riding my bike for an hour, just trying to supplement until I can really increase that mileage. So I am still doing some swimming and some biking, but I am really looking forward to the day when I can cut that out completely. But right now I feel like my body is just, it needs a little time to get used to the maybe, 90 miles a week. And after maybe, another month at this mileage, I hopefully can increase again.
Yeah, okay. So what's your action plan then for 2018? Because you recently raced a 5K on the track and you PB'd there. But what's next on the agenda in the next couple of months? And will we see you at the start line of a marathon this year?
I would love to be on the start line of a marathon. But, I think I want to, if I'm going to go to a marathon, I want to be prepared, and I want to be able to have, 3 or 4 months of focused training for that marathon. And for me, I'm going to need to get my mileage up to be able to run 120 miles a week before I can consider that. So right now, I think my next race or next couple races, I haven't completely decided, but they're going to be, maybe something on the track, maybe another 5K or 10K, or something on the roads, a 15K or a 10 mile or a half marathon maybe. But, it's all just kind of me listening to my body, and it's something that Jerry's helping me plan out which races, and, he's really able to tell when I'm ready and when I'm not ready. And sometimes that comes, a week before the race. So for me, I'm just trying to be patient. I'm a big planner and would love to know what races I'm doing. I would love to be able to maybe, if everything goes perfectly, maybe be able to do a half coming up sometime within the next few months, and maybe possibly a fall marathon, or, the marathon debut may have to not be until 2019. I'm not sure. We're just kind of taking that day by day and how my body adapts to the high running mileage.
Yeah, because obviously the first big meeting will be that Olympic Trials Marathon in 2019, but you obviously want to run another one before.
Yes, that I think it would be beneficial to run one before, but at the same time, don't want to rush it in the sense where we're rushing it and trying to force something and then maybe possibly getting injured or having a result that, just isn't worth anything. So trying to be patient, but also as well, yes, balancing that with the fact that, the Olympic trials is coming up very quickly and you can't run, marathons back to back to back. So you really have to have time and space in between. So to be able to, have a marathon before that Olympic trials would be beneficial in the regard of just knowing how to race and how to execute on a long marathon race.
Yeah, like you have a current PB of 2:41, which you ran in New York a couple of months just after the Rio Olympics, and on very little specific marathon training. But what do you think it will take you to first of all make the U.S. team, and then second of all to win the gold or medal at the Olympics?
Yeah, I think the U.S. Something I love about the marathon right now is the U.S. is becoming so strong. There's Amy Craig, who just got, a bronze medal at the World Championship, followed that up with another third in Tokyo. There's Shalane Flanagan, who just won New York. So, there's Molly Huddle, there's, Jordan Hasse, there's Deze. There's so many strong women who are in the field, and I'm probably forgetting a few. I hate naming people because then I don't name everyone, but, there's so many good, strong marathoners right now. And especially in the U.S., I think it's great because it's just really making it, some people could say more difficult, but I think it's just raising the level, and it's making the U.S. a powerhouse on the world level. And they're becoming, not just competing against each other, trying to be something that I really hate saying, the best American, but instead they're trying to be the best in the world. And that's something that means so much to me and is really exciting to watch as not only a fan, but now someone who's trying to break into that scene. I know that to be, to make the U.S. team and then to, podium in the world level, you need to be able to run 2:20 or, better in the marathon. And I don't think it will necessarily take a 2:20 on the day at the Olympic trials to make the U.S. team, but I think the top athletes are going to be capable of running 2:20. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but with the marathon, a lot of times exactly. It depends on the race. It depends on the condition, and those athletes that are winning, they are capable of running 2:20 or better. Even if they're running, maybe they only run 2:25 or 2:28 or 2:27 or whatever it is. I know that, on the perfect day, perfect conditions, they're able to run 2:20. So that's the goal. And that's where I'll be shooting for.
Yeah. And there's a lot of debate going on the internet. I mean, in doing the research here for the interview, I saw, people discuss whether you were able to do it or not. How do you deal with that pressure there? Because, the entire triathlon community and the marathon community is watching your every move.
I think something I love about sport is it's given me confidence in myself. And through sport, I've really been able to just kind of shut that all out. And I honestly don't care what other people think. For me, I'm doing this because I have faith in myself. I have faith in the team I have around me. I have what I think is the best support crew in the world. I believe I have the best coach. I believe I have the best husband who also takes care of me. And I just have, I have who I believe is the best nutritionist. All these people I work with, I believe are the best. And it's the best team that will get me to the highest level. And I don't listen to what other people think, because at the end of the day, I'm the one that has to show up on the race start line, and I'm the one that has to get it done. So, for me, this is an exciting challenge and something that I've wanted to do, and I'm really excited about trying to accomplish. And the sport has just given me the confidence to not worry about what other people think.
Yeah. So is that like the one major thing that you're taking away from your triathlon career?
Oh gosh, there's a lot of things I take away from my triathlon career, but that's definitely one of them. I think something else I learned from triathlon is my coach, Jamie Turner, always had me focus on the process instead of the outcome. So, I say things like, I want to win Olympic gold, and that's an outcome-based thing, but day to day, my goals and the things I think about and write down are very process driven. So I'm thinking about form. I'm not thinking about, trying to hit a PR every day in the workout, because that's very unrealistic. But I'm thinking about the form and things that will make me stronger and hopefully able to perform on race day.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's fast forward to 2020, and you have that gold medal around your neck. Any idea what you will be doing then? I mean, any chance we will see you maybe do an Ironman? Because that would be pretty interesting to see what you can do with that run speed. Or are your triathlon days completely over?
Yeah, that's a wide open thing, something that I'm not even thinking about. I'm just so focused right now in the marathon, and then as well raising my son Stanley, who's been just such a blessing in my life, that I haven't really thought far ahead. For me, I definitely plan, and my next plan is to get to Tokyo 2020 and to win there, but I haven't seen past that. I think it's similar to what happened in Rio, where I didn't plan past that Rio Olympics in triathlon because I didn't know how I would feel, and I finished and I gave myself a little break, and I thought, okay, now I want to do the marathon, and I'm hoping that same thing will happen, after 2020, that, I'll have, whatever happens, I'll have some sort of guidance inside internally pushing me to one thing or another. But right now it's just too hard to think about. The thought of having to go out and do an Ironman right now is pretty daunting and not something that excites me, but who knows, maybe in a couple years time it will be exciting, and I'll have really miss that triathlon training. I don't know.
Okay. Same thing if you don't succeed, will you try to push it another 4 years and try again in Paris in 2024?
Same thing that I just said.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm not planning on anything, and I'm just taking it, right now I'm immersed in my current 2020 goal. And, after 2020, no matter what happens, I think that's when I'll be able to sit down and reevaluate and see where my heart's at and what's motivating me.
Yeah. Okay. No, definitely makes sense. Looking back at your entire athletic career so far, what do you see as your personal biggest achievement, and what do you see as your biggest disappointment?
I think one of my biggest achievements is I had a race in Stockholm. I don't remember the year, but I had been working with Jamie, so maybe 2013 or 2014, and I won on a course that it was a very hilly course. There was cobbles. It was a hard swim, really hard bike. And, a lot of people said, don't go to that race. You're not going to be successful on it. It doesn't suit you. And something for me in my triathlon career that I strive to do, and I believe I was able to accomplish, is I wanted to be good on every course, no matter if it was hilly or flat or, a lot of U-turns on the bike course or whatever it was, surf swim, ocean swim, lake swim. I wanted to be able to execute on any course, and being able to execute on that Stockholm course and come away with the win. I had a great swim, great bike, and good run. And that was something that to me was a huge accomplishment and really showed me that I was on the right trajectory to winning gold in Rio. So that was probably my biggest memory of having a big accomplishment. And then as well, the Rio Olympics was huge. Just putting 4 years into one day and being able to accomplish that on the day is something that's incredible. And I just have my team to really thank for that. And then biggest disappointment in a race. That's a hard one. I think I had a couple races in, I'm so bad at the years. There was a race I raced in Cape Town, I remember, and I got third, and I was very disappointed with it because I felt like I had really been executing everything in training, and I went to the race and I just felt like I didn't execute on the day. Mentally, I wasn't prepared as good as I should have been, and I just made a lot of mental errors, and I felt just, a little let down after that race. I actually was considering maybe quitting the sport. I didn't know if I had what it took to be the world's best because, I had been putting in the training, and then I got to race day and, my coach had prepared me, Patrick had prepared me. I had been, prepared to do my best, but I just didn't execute. So that day was a pretty hard day. And I actually took a mini break after that race with Patrick and just tried to decompress and, decide did I really want to do triathlon, and did I believe I really could accomplish my goals? So that was probably the one of the hardest races for me.
Yeah. But sometimes these little breaks, they can do miracles.
Oh, it's amazing. Yes, I think that's something, as an athlete, it's hard to take breaks, though, because you know that you can gain something if you're working out every day, but sometimes taking that break will actually give you an edge and help you come back stronger and be able to hit and execute on workouts and become a better athlete.
Yeah, definitely. All right, thanks so much for your time, Gwen. This has been very insightful and very, very fun. How can people get in touch with you if they want to?
Yeah, I'm active on social media. I just started a YouTube channel, so that's kind of following my marathon journey and, trying to accomplish this goal of winning. So you can follow along on YouTube, /Gwen Jorgensen. I also have Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, all just at Gwen Jorgensen.
All right, cool. I'll put those links up on the show notes page. Feel free to give some love to your sponsors and your partners. And how have they all reacted to your move from triathlon to running?
Yeah, they've been really supportive. I'm able to, have, I was with Specialized on the bike, and they want me to stay on as an ambassador role. So that's been great. Obviously it's I've had a bit of a pay cut, but I've had some sponsors who have really supported me and stayed with me. Sleep Number Bed has been a big one. I've been able to stay with the Island House and Oakley. So Red Bull, all these sponsors have stayed with me through this transition, and it's been pretty amazing. And I'm excited for the future, and hopefully I'll have a few more sponsorships coming up soon.
All right, cool. Well, I'll put the ones that you mentioned also on the show notes page. One final question to finish it off. If you could sit on a bench and chat for an hour with anyone from the past or the present, who would it be and why? It'd actually be my grandpa Stanley, who has passed away. Stanley is actually someone who, my son is named Stanley as well, but my grandpa, I remember when I was in high school and I'd go to those track meets, and I just remember him watching behind the fence, and I'd see him afterwards, and he'd say, "You should quit swimming, Gwen, just run. You could go to the Olympics in running if you just focused on it." And I, at the time, was just so focused on swimming, I just put him off and, didn't really talk about it. But I'd love to just be able to sit back and reminisce with him and, show him now all that I'm doing in running and in sport and life. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Maybe one day that will happen for you. I hope so.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks so much for your time, Gwen. Much appreciated.
Yep, have a good day. Thank you.
All right, Junkies, you've reached the end of yet another episode of the Endurance Junkie podcast. Thanks for listening, and thank you so much to Gwen Jorgensen for coming on. Now, every listen means so much to me, so if you like this interview and think someone else would too, feel free to share it on your own social media channels. That would be awesome and very much appreciated. Now, if you have suggestions for possible future guests, just shoot me an email to peter@junkiepodcast.com, and I'll try to make it happen. All right, thanks again for listening, and I hope you'll join me next time. Cheers, guys.